My name's Antony Yousefian. I'm the VP of Climate and Circularity at Wiliot. I've come from a career of being in investing into this space of climate and seeing that there was a flow of capital wanting to, let's just say, allocate itself into the right places, but was always essentially, I believe, struggling to quantify the environmental risks, the climate challenges, and then where to allocate itself into the right opportunities. And that's taken me on a personal journey to actually go into the world of essentially tech startup. And the last 7 or 8 years post my financial career is actually working with technology companies, specifically actually within supply chains, food supply chains, and trying to make them more sustainable and essentially be ready for this, sadly, probably a bit more of a volatile future for us all as we kind of come to with climate change bearing down upon us. So obviously on my journey in trying to find technologies that can help quantify the environment or understand what's going on, IoT essentially has been an area of interest of mine, and Wiliot is in essentially that arena of ambient IoT, IoT being the Internet of Things, and Wiliot is in essentially the ambient IoT space, which is connecting everything to the cloud and leveraging, let's just say, AI, and they've developed a sensing as a service platform. So we're actually, I've got one of them here with me right now. I've got a tag here, which is essentially a small computer. I don't know if you actually can see it in the blur in the image there. It is actually a small computer, a postage stamp size computer with no battery. It's batteryless, which is the game changer in IoT, and it harvests energy from the environment around us to power itself, and then communicates back its temperature, its location, the conditions that it's experiencing, or even touch and things like that. So that element has actually been the problem in the climate space, is actually getting hold of this information, and Wiliot is taking that cost to basically zero. So this is going to give products in supply chain a voice, as I like to say, and tell us what they're seeing and what they're feeling, like disruption and what's going on. So think of it like an absolute army of sustainability data gatherers that could be in your supply chain. Obviously, myself being in the UK, Wiliot is a global company. It is based, actually, it was originated in Israel. It now sits across the globe, very active in the US specifically, but UK has always been a leader, should we kind of say, in the climate space. And with essentially the financial community as well here in the UK, this feels like a great place to really launch Wiliot's capability in this space of generating climate intelligence in supply chains. So really looking forward to actually being in a place where all end in one location, where everyone is the right mindset and really open-minded to actually, let's just say, creating a positive future and taking positive action on climate change. We're going to be talking at Innovation Zero about food supply chains. Look, supply chains as a whole create the biggest emissions. But specifically, we wanted to talk about food supply chain. Yes, they are one of the biggest emitters generated, but we see that actually they are one of the solutions, or very clearly near-term solutions, that if we can actually understand what is happening and change those supply chains, be it reduce the waste, be it select essentially sustainable supply chains like sourcing food or sourcing produce from farmers who are doing specific practices like regenerative agriculture, there is a real opportunity to essentially hit net zero much faster and go beyond. So we're going to be hosting a panel of those all the way upstream on farm, gathering data, all the way those to downstream, like Abel and Cole, for example, who are completely changing how they source and are really I would say, innovators in this space of sustainable supply chain. So we're really excited to be talking about that. And we think this is what will lead the agenda on climate change will be food, and agriculture will be one of the big winners from a net zero world or beyond, which we do need to go beyond net zero as well. I've always been in the world of getting hold of information to make an action, be it in trading, be it in investment, and it's the same, right? But the one thing is, when I've been trying to quantify carbon sequestration, or I've been trying to quantify emissions, primary data has been the issue. And that goes back to, and this primary data is what everyone wants to make business decisions anyway. And ambient IoT can give you that. You can see exactly where a product is, for example, in the supply chain. If you can see where it is live, real time, you know when it's about to go to wastage. If you know when it's about to be waste or become waste, you can find a buyer for that waste. There is other people who want those waste off streams, and it's not a waste to them, it's an input, for example. So the circular economy can easily be enabled through essentially this primary data. This visibility is the number one. What's the status of it? What's the location of it? And then it's actually the traceability. Can we then, if we can see where everything is, we can see that real end-to-end traceability. And if you then show that traceability to buyers and everything else, you're going to see a big change in decision making, that be it the consumer, but also on the procurement side, because the quality metric is changing. And when sustainability becomes part of the buying process, which it is, and it creates another level of complexity. It's not the shape and weight and stuff like that, but it's what is the footprint. And that is only, again, you need the primary data to get that. But this is where AI can really solve this rapidly and make that complex decision. Is just like, select me the lowest footprint supply chain. And some of our customers today, for example, who are using Wiliot, are doing that. And we will have them on stage as well, who are starting to do essentially sustainable supply chain selection. And it adds complexity, but it's easy once you have the data, once it's there and visible. It is, as I mentioned, helping gather more information on individual product or asset, where it is, what it's experiencing. But later this year, there will be a new development by Wiliot, a new Generation 3 tag, which they call, this is Generation 2, which is about to be rolled out, which will take this capability further range. The cost is in the pennies, and you'll be able to essentially see things like light, which is going to be a big difference. You'll be able to see humidity. You'll be able to get proximity sensing. So we're going to basically show you the physical world, give you visibility on the physical world for basically the cost of getting that data goes to zero. Wiliot is essentially commodity. It's invested a lot of money, and it still continues to invest a lot of money in this sensing technology, but it's taking that cost to zero because it shouldn't be a friction. It's the data which everyone wants. So it's really kind of commoditizing that. So really, that is a climate endeavor that the founders didn't realize that actually what they were building originally wasn't for sustainability, but they've now completely realized that the impact that, giving the world the visibility on the physical world and what's going on real time, that will be let's just say, in today's world of AI, that is going to be a primary data feed, which will really kind of enable us to solve our biggest problems. Come and talk to us if you're really serious about action and enabling change. Like, we can really help with that. Previously, before, it's when you've done footprinting or making action, it's always after the event. That is no longer an excuse anymore. I don't believe the technology is there. So if you're really serious about driving change in your business operationally, come and see what our other customers are doing around the world, and we can just help you get there quicker. So we really want to meet with those businesses, but also I really want to call out to finance. I think that the data here can really, I know finance wants to find the right projects to lend to or invest into. Our customers and the data that has been generated can give you that information that you need to allocate to green projects. So I really want to bring those two worlds together, Innovation Zero.